So what we're going to do is very simple. Did someone bring me chocolate? The chocolate fairy has come. This is great. Okay, so number one. Number one, you're going to induce trance using specifically a revivification. Whilst you're revivifying that trance experience, I want you to pay attention to how they're doing it. What are they telling you more of? Do they respond more to the words of the things they saw, more to the things they heard, they felt? What is it where you get the biggest juice out from? And you can also kind of weave some things in once they're in trance about, you know, how are you doing this? Once you've revivified trance, I want you to start getting used to using your boilerplates, because you're doing trance, you're doing hypnotherapy, you're starting that process. So all the things you learned about boilerplates, about language, about H+, all those things still count, all come together, right? Once you've gone through the basic boilerplates 1, remember? For those of you who want to remember them, boilerplates 1 are on that wall over there. After that, you're going to offer them a sanctuary. By sanctuary, I mean not just like a safe experience, like sit in the chair, you know you're safe. You're going to create an experience they've never had, which encapsulates feelings of freedom, safety, security, whatever sanctuary means to you. A sanctuary basically is a place of freedom, of peace of mind, of safety, security. Each one has something slightly different. Now, if you want to be really clever about this, you ask them ahead of time what kind of scenes they find particularly pleasant, relaxing, safe, etc. So it could be, the classic one is, of course, the beach. You're at a beach, and the sand, and the surf, and the seagulls, and I'm not going to do this one because it is, I've done it so often. Like, this is like the standard thing to do, right? And even people who haven't been to the beach now think they've been to the beach because they've heard some kind of tape that talks about a beach, right? Like England, all the beaches in England are cold and pebble stoned. There's a couple of sandy ones, but not really many. So I still have tropical beaches in my head, and I've never been to one. Actually, I'm from Thailand, but that's later. And actually, this is funny. I turn up in Thailand for my first time, and I actually see a genuine tropical beach, and I go, this is not right. Seriously, it took me a while to figure out why. I thought, what's wrong with this beach? It's not like it's in here. So choose an event. You can have anything. A mountain, a cool mountain lake under moonlight. It could be a forest in the summertime. It could be a garden path. It could be a nice manicured sort of royal estate type garden with hedges and stuff. It can be anything. It can be a scene of nature. It can be a scene in a city. It can be underwater, over water. It really doesn't matter. The point is, have a chat to them before you do the revivification to find out what would be an experience that really like having. One, hopefully, which involves inactivity, because that helps in terms of the process, but it doesn't have to be. If it's new to you, then get some reference points. You know, what kind of scenes do you normally see, feel, hear, sense, taste, experience when you're there, so you know what you're doing. And when you get to the sanctuary point, just go to town. Go to town describing it. Now, here's a secret to how to describe it. When you describe things, let's put it this way. Everyone close your eyes. We will take you to the beach. Now, we'll start with the beach this time. There's a reason for it, because I don't want to screw up your mountain for you. So just imagine, if you would, think about a beach, a perfect beach for you. Just imagine that beach in all its sensations. The sand, the sun, the things you hear, the things you feel. Maybe you're sticking your toes into the sand and feel the temperature. As you walk closer towards the water, the sand gets wetter, damper, cooler perhaps. And as you turn and look behind you, looking at the steaming eye of a rhinoceros charging down the beach. Very good, and bring yourselves back. What just happened? Let me put it this way. How many of you, when they saw the rhinoceros coming down, just going, hang on a second, don't like this, and it changed the, shall we say, the depth of the trance. Maybe lightened it, maybe popped you out a little bit. How many people had that experience? How many people sort of saw the rhino and said, hang on a second, oh, well, it's so nice here anyway, I'll just carry on with it, and I'll just accept it just so I can have the rest of it. Okay? This is about a reasonably fair split. So what's happened here is this. I gave you a particular experience which has certain expectations built into it, right? You expect to see seagulls, you expect to see sand, you expect to see water, sunshine, etc. Now, you don't expect to see a rhino come charging down the beach. So by going contrary to your expectations, your mind was going one direction. I introduced something that shouldn't be there, and so we created a clash. So the mind likes, remember the law of associations, it likes things that run smooth. And as soon as I put a burr or something in the way, it makes you think. It brings the critical factor back in line and says, this does not fit. So I've just reactivated the critical factor. Do you see how that works? So my job is to not do that. How do you avoid doing that? Well, by mentioning things, when you make the descriptions, it's called being artfully vague. Thank you very much. This is what artful vagueness is about. What things will you experience when you're on a sandy beach? Well, sand, right? Maybe sun. It could be day or nighttime. We don't know yet. So we have to say, you know, whatever time of day it is now, just allow the daytime to be there, and then you bring the sun in. So you have to create a transition to make sure the sun is there. I would normally start to say, just think about being on a beach on a nice sunny day, because then I know I've got sunshine, then I know I've got a beach, and I'll probably throw in sand near the beginning as well to make sure I've got that there too. You have temperature. It may be hot, it may be cool. You don't know yet. But there'll definitely be a temperature. Do you see where we're going with this? So your job is to describe things you know are going to be there, sensations you know are going to be there, but not necessarily be so specific that they can't have their own experience of it. Does that make sense? So what kind of things will definitely be in a forest? Yeah, now you're getting it. Right? Pathways, trees. What else? Shadows, light. Even at nighttime, if it's nighttime, you can have starlight coming through. So there'll be some from light. Say again? Animals and animal sounds. Who?
Fun guide.
Fun guide? Oh. Okay. That's what I thought. Well, they can be fun, definitely. I thought that was like a euphemism, you know. It's like the happy plant, the fun guy. I apologize. I get it now. How about smells? There'll be certain scents, the scent of the forest. Do you see? I say these things without actually intruding on the experience, right? Now, from time to time, you will accidentally intrude on their experience. And if it's small enough, and their trance is pleasant or profound enough, they'll make allowances, they'll accept it and alter their experience to match what you've suggested. Does that make sense? Sometimes they'll just go, you know what, I don't like this bit, so I'll just ignore that bit, but I'll keep the rest of it and I'll carry on because the rest is doing pretty well. Does that make sense? What you don't want to happen is the critical factor coming back online going, hang on a second, what are leaves doing in this forest? I'm in a pine forest, right? He obviously doesn't know his trees. Do you see where I'm going with this, right? So, the exercise is very simple. Start off with a revivifying trance. Actually, start off by asking a question. Where do you want to go? What is a good place? What is a sanctuary for you? Just get some details of that. Start off by revivifying a trance or trance-like experience, as you did before. Do boiler plates 1. Start describing the scene, the sanctuary. Once you really see them getting into it, just give them a few minutes to just enjoy it. So you become silent. It's very important, this. When you leave them time to to explore the scene or whatever it is, you are silent. There's nothing more for you to do. You've now wound up the Energizer Bunny, and now it's going to go hopping around the magic forest with the fun guy, all by itself. After a few minutes of that, you're going to bring in your boiler plates too, because you're coming towards the end of the trance. And then you end the trance and emerge them. What do you do the minute they come out of hypnosis? You go, Was that okay? Exactly. Do you think you can all do that? Is that easy to do?
Can you just clarify at the beginning there where you're in the trance and asking for revivification of the experience they had? What sort of guidelines for that?
Well, the kind of, were you there for the earlier exercise just before lunch?
Yeah.
That.
Any sort of experience?
Anything that is trance-like. So reading a book, running, watching a movie, car. If you want to make life really easy on yourself, just ask them, this is the magic question. Have you been in a trance before? And they go, yes, because you've all been here. And then you go, when? And that's the beginning of revivification. If you want to get a little bit more conversational about it, ask them about a situation that is trance-like. Reading a book, watching a film, riding a bicycle, getting lost or absorbed in a certain task like masonry or artwork, anything that's either repetitive, where people can lose themselves in it, or you know the kind of things I'm talking about, right? Once you have the trance, you start with you go straight into boilerplates 1. It's just a 1 or 2 sentence thing, just to smooth the transition. Then give them a reason to be in this sanctuary. So in a moment, something wonderful is going to happen. You can blend shape, whatever it is, experience, and have this, whatever. It doesn't matter how you do it. Give them a sanctuary. At the end of that, bring them back. Give them boilerplate 2. Count them out with, remember, full self-esteem and all that sort of stuff. So that's easy to do, right? It's a simple process. It's just putting together things you did yesterday and today into a nice little package, right? So we're going to add something on the fringes of that, which is how you're going to give feedback. Up until this point, I hope you've been restricting yourself to feedback 1, which is just, I liked X about what you did and nothing else. Is that what you guys were doing? Kind of. Yeah, that's what I was doing, yeah. So now you can give feedback in a more fleshed out frame. So you start off the same way. I really liked X, I really liked Y, I really liked Z. The tone of your voice was fantastic, your pacing was great, and when you paused right in the middle, that really gave me a chance to have that experience, and I really liked that. Then you're going to give them a behavior that if they add that behavior to what they're doing already, you think they'll do an even better job. Note, this is not the bit where you give feedback like, your voice is terrible, right? That's not feedback, that's just veiled criticism, or very thinly veiled criticism. You know you're in trouble when someone says, don't take this the wrong way, but, like, how am I supposed to take that, right? So add actually a behavior they can actually engage in. For example, lower your voice, slow down, give a longer pause, say these words, touch this way, slow the touch down. Not, that almost broke my neck, but a gentle touch is probably enough. Do you see where we're going with this? So it's actually a behaviorally, the addition has got to be a behavioral addition, something they can actually do. It's not a vague concept, it's something you can actually do, right? Finally, give an overall enthusiasm, because if you add that, your hypnosis is going to go through the roof. People are going to respond in fantastic ways, and they're going to just love talking to you, because you're going to zone them out like a magic butterfly fungi sort of thing. Does that make sense? So you get how to give the feedback, you get how to do the actual sanctuary induction thing. That's the technical term, sanctuary induction thing. Go ahead.
Just to reiterate, that you wanted them to choose the sanctuary.
So this, exactly. This gets chosen by the client, by the subject, before you get into the whole thing. Then you actually create it for them once you're in it. So they just choose, they choose the context, and you provide the scenery, so to speak. You guys ready to do this? One more question in the back here. Go ahead.
How long do we leave them in the sanctuary?
Well, that depends on how much time it took you to get them there. We're going to give you another 7 minutes again to do the induction. So now your revivification has to be a little bit quicker, because you have to have the sanctuary in the middle as well. So bearing in mind that you have 7 minutes to do the whole piece, you can do a profound sanctuary, prescribe more and give them less time, or you can leave them there longer. It's up to you. Go ahead.
Do you ask them questions as far as what is the temperature like, or do you tell them?
I love this girl. Ask me again on the next exercise, would you?
Okay.
Eyes open, eyes closed.
You're a hypnotist. You decide. What do you want? If they freak you out like this, then get them to close their eyes. If you quite like this, then keep them open. Off you go, guys. Actually, I'll give you 10 minutes apiece, 20 minutes in total, and I'll give you a warning shot when it happens. So, are you enjoying that? Was that a good experience? I noticed a few of you got so into the experience you actually didn't hear. You negatively hallucinated the signal to change roles, so you both got a chance to hypnotize, but hey, it happens. Luckily, you're about to get another go at this. Let me ask you first of all, was that fun? Yes. Did you enjoy it? Yes. Were they good? Were your hypnotists good? Yes. Wow. Now, yes, maybe, I don't know. So, this is the core of creating experiences. You know how to bring experience to life. You know how to create an experience, right? Now, a lot of people have seen the pocket watch swinging, top hat wearing, monocled hypnotists who just sort of speak at them, at someone, and then the hands come up and like a zombie, they go jumping off cliffs or something. I don't know. Is hypnosis like that? No. You don't sound very convinced, do you? What have I done? No, you're right. Hypnosis is not like that. So, hypnosis is a part of communication, but so many hypnotists end up just talking at someone rather than the whole communication. How can you get actually inside someone's mind, see what's going on in there, so you know whether or not you're doing a good job, so you know whether or not what you're doing is actually working? Wouldn't that be kind of interesting to know? Wouldn't that be like an interesting process to go, hey, I can get inside someone's head, and when you get good at this, by the way, you get to the point where you don't even have to be inside their head anymore, you can just see it from their reaction. But how about you had a tool, a way of training yourself so you'll get that experience and see that? Would that be kind of interesting? Before we get there, we're actually going to do something that's going to prepare you to be able to do that. Because all that you have to learn to do is do something which seems a little unnatural, which is learn to ask people questions whilst in trance. Now, people think that because I'm asking a question, oh my God, but what if that takes them out of trance? Well, no. It's okay. People can speak in trance. The key thing is, if you suggest to them that they can speak freely without actually leaving trance, or actually their own speech will deepen the experience, guess what's going to happen? Exactly. So what you're going to do is the exact same thing again. We're just going to add a step over here. And the step is actually what I think you were asking about earlier, which is, this time rather than just describing the experience, you're going to set the scene. You're going to revivify a trance, you're going to do boilerplate 1, you're going to do a sanctuary just like you did this moment. Only this time, before you get to the point where you leave them a nice pause of silence to actually enjoy the experience, you're going to give them an orienting, you're going to do some orienting questions. You're going to orient them to the experience by asking questions about it. Now this is simple to you guys because you've already done it. You've done it in the revivification when you said, where were you, who were you with, what did you see, what did the table look like, that sort of stuff, right? So you've already done it. Now you're just going to do it after the induction. You're going to do it inside the trance and get responses. So it looks something like this. You're walking down up the mountain path, and there's that mountain path and those stones, and you're walking up and it's great. And hey, look over there, what's that? And then they go, huh? Oh, you can talk freely and realize that this experience deepens the more you talk. What's that? And they go, oh, there's a bird. That's right. There is a bird, right? Do you see where we're going with this? Or look over there. What do you notice? Now, you saw that happening already when Rick and I had our little adventure on the bonus day, right? What did I ask? Look around the room until you find a table with a meal on it that doesn't belong there. So I was telling him to find something specific, but he actually found it. I had no idea it's going to be, was it prime ribs? I understand that, that's good. But do you see where we're going with this? So all you're going to do is going to do exactly the same thing again, only once you're here, Once you get a sense that they've got a little bit of the experience, enough that something's happening, start asking questions woven into the actual process. So what's that over there? Yes, it is a bird, isn't it? And watch what it does as you continue climbing higher. And there's the sunshine, the feeling of the fresh air surrounding you and the breeze against your skin. And, oh, look down there. What's that? That's right. What is that? Do you see where we're going with this? You can do it with sights, with sounds, with any kind of sensation. But you want to get them to give you volunteer three or four things that you didn't know about because they had to create it. But you want to sound, this is the secret, you want to sound as though you're right next to them. So you're right next to them, having experience with them, so that they can empathize with you. So the way I like to do it is I pretend, I hallucinate I'm there with them. I see something, then he comes out with a bird and says, no, it's not a bird, it's a bloody stone. Can't you see that? No, I'll do that second half. But you see where I'm going with this. So that's the easiest way of being right alongside with them, which helps your intention, H+, and all that sort of stuff, too. Easy? It's really just one extra step, which is not really an extra step because you've done it already, you're just going to move it to somewhere else. So to make it easier on you guys, because you already know how to do all this bit, if you want to do induced trance through revivification, you can. If you want to do an instant induction, you can. If you want to use the 60-second hypnotist, you can. You can do whatever you want. I don't care. You're the hypnotist, you get to choose any induction you want. The key that I'm looking for is you're going to use boilerplate, you induce trance, you use boilerplate 1, you do some kind of sanctuary description, you've already found out beforehand what they want. Then you ask a couple of orienting questions. Once you've got 2 or 3 responses, you do a bit more describing, a little bit of silence, boilerplate 2, bring them out. You're done. You have now successfully navigated inside someone else's mind. Kind of cool, isn't it? You ready to do that? 10 minutes apiece, someone different, off you go. Stuff seems to be happening there. You guys having a good time? Does anyone get surprised by how good this sort of stuff can be? Yeah? So, what are we going to do with all this? Bottle it. Sell it as a drug, right? Well, let's see if we can take these skills. What is it that we're doing? With the revivification, with the sanctuary, rooting around and say, orienting questions, stuff like that. What actually are we doing? You're creating a safe place. But you can do that with just saying, feel the chair, you're safe. It's a lot quicker. I mean, it's a nicer way of doing it. And it's more involved. But there's a skill set here, something that it allows us to do something. Any ideas? Okay, so we're learning to use vivid sensory language to make experiences more real. Absolutely. Okay, he needs a microphone because he's just got it.
We're just learning to get the feedback from the people to see where we're at with the experience.
That's exactly right. Does anyone have any doubt as to how they're doing, where they were at, as a result of doing this induction now? You notice how it doesn't take that much information to know exactly what's going on? So this is why, and this is something we'll come on to more tomorrow, there is a magic question you ask whenever you get this sort of sense in your gut that's going like, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know if something's going wrong or it's just not quite right. You know what the magic question is? What's happening now? Right? It's not difficult to ask it, and you realize that, if anything, it can actually augment the experience, it can deepen the trance if you start asking questions about it, right? It's just another form of revivification. So this is something I want to get guys to get used to, make it a routine of what you're doing, because you do want feedback from inside their mind. You don't want to just throw stuff at the wall like pasta and hope some of it sticks.